What's up, YouTube Nation? Hey, Duane here. Going to be diving onto a coaching call here with Kirk. And I want to take you guys live with us because in reality, this is how we grow to get a massive business going. And so I'm going to be adding Instagram as well to this. And so give me just a second as I build this out. But we're going to go through some scenarios that Kurt had. Actual live people knocking on their door, what he experienced and why he experienced it. And so this is going to be huge when it comes to you guys learning from real people saying with real experiences and live events. Hit me up with questions as we go through this. All right, guys, gonna set this up here. Just a second, guys. Going live. Trying not to show off too much here. All right, guys, we're gonna try to balance this, make sure this works over the top of my computer, show my crazy techie side. Oh, this is gonna be good. Oh, we're ready. Look at this. We got it. Okay, guys, I'm gonna add Kurt on here. Let me text him, tell him to get on YouTube. All right, guys, this is going to be a good one. So we're going to go through a lot of what Kurt has experienced with a person door to door. He's got a good recording. This is going to be awesome. So if you are not ready to learn a ton of stuff, turn it back on, come back in here again, because this is going to be good. We are going to be diving into some really detailed stuff. Kurt's jumping on here live here with us. But crazy good stuff. Here we go. Tony, welcome, brother. It's good to have you. Logan, welcome, welcome. Tony asked me what is my criteria for end of the conversation at the door if we feel like we won't close them. Tony, learn how to close them better. Get deeper with them. Make sure that you're getting further and further with each person, and don't give up until you've gotten multiple no's. So don't quit after the first couple no's. Keep going and keep going and keep going until you have multiple no's. And, there's just no way to close them. Kurt's trying to log in here, I think. Maybe it's because my little stand is pinching the volume control. I'm not sure. It's not accepting Kurt. There it is. Kurt's here. Here we go, guys. Now we're ready. Live. Going to walk through this conversation. So tell me where this conversation with Darren happened.
Darren. Okay. This was an apartment, and this guy was middle-aged. He had a bunch of kids, so I thought, he's more established. He should probably be looking for something. So he kind of brushed me off in the beginning, and then I did I pushed through it, and then he was willing to listen for a few minutes. Then he's like, all right, I'm done, and then kicks me off at that point. So,
okay, let's listen. You got 6.5 minutes here. I want to hear where you take this person, what you say, what you're doing, and let's listen.
Kirk, did your neighbors let you know something about it?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I've been talking to a bunch of your neighbors about the real estate market. It's picking up quite a bit. I want to ask you guys if you're considered buying or investing.
No, we're not interested right now.
Okay. When do you think you would do something like that?
I don't know. It's like we're gonna lease here for a little bit and stuff.
Kurt, is this your forever home? Remember the steps exactly, right? If they say no to have you ever considered buying, selling, or investing in real estate? And they say no, remember that always the first question is this your forever home? Why? It's a simple question, and you've heard me say it a million times, but you're still reverting off to another train of thought. Tell me what that question does, Kirk, because you're not understanding why we say that question.
Well, and I normally do, but this was an apartment building, so it felt a little weird. It felt like a little bit of like a gotcha. Like, well, you're gonna live here for. I mean, so I probably just need to get over that. What I have found, because I was asking people, when do you think you would do something like that? And then I would just get hit with, oh, I don't know, I haven't really thought about it. And so then I switched it to, do you plan on buying at some point, or are you planning on renting forever? And to me, it seemed like they're like, well, I'm definitely going to be doing it at some point. I'm not going to be doing this forever. That seemed a little more effective, but I agree with you.
So the reason I ask, is this your forever home? And they tell me no. What are they essentially telling me?
That they're moving.
They're moving. So I just got a yes, Kurt. When we talk about closing, I just got a yes within how long in the conversation?
Like 15 seconds.
And that is how we start these conversations, Kurt. You've got to have yeses all the way through. You've always got to be closing, but it's got to be them closing, right? So if they're saying this is not my forever home, they just told you I'm going to be moving at some point. Okay, and what you did is you missed that step first, and you're like, well, how long is it going to be? Well, they haven't told you they're moving yet. So now they can skirt around all of that, and they say, oh, I don't know, we haven't thought about it.
Too big a gap.
Yeah, you missed a step. You have to follow the steps in the real estate process. So as a coach, we're going to teach you every step. You've got to learn the steps, and then if you do the steps and each one of them, there is no way you're not closing at a crazy high percentage rate. Let's keep going. Let's listen.
So
Okay.
no, we're not good. We're good for a
You're staying
while.
here?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you consider making that next move sooner if it could save you a ton of money?
No. What do you mean save money? Because I mean, there's.
So I'm sure you've seen the market and
Yeah,
what we're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. That's why we asked that question. I've taught you that question to say, hey, if you could save some money, would you consider this sooner? After he just told you, no, 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 no. So Tony, you asked me this on YouTube. Hey, how many no's do we get? He's already got like 3. And now we're pushing through going, yeah, let's get a little deeper with this. Let's figure out what we need to do. And boom, you sparked his interest. So now he's like, whoa, wait a minute. You're going to save me money? How are you going to save me money? So now he's wanting you to teach. Let's see what you do with this, because he just opened right up. I mean, this is a slam dunk, home run. Let's see where you take it.
So right now first off, a lot of the builders in the area have cut their prices quite a bit.
Oh, look, you're already talking.
Yeah, bad move.
Already talking. I mean, we're not even from him opening up saying, teach me. Now it's just like blasting him with information. You're already diving into the builders in the neighborhood and this, that, and the other. They're already slashing their prices. You're telling again.
Yeah.
What should you have done?
I should have asked how familiar he was with the market.
Okay, then what?
And then I would go into asking if he knows where rates are.
Well, you can't just say, I'm not familiar with the market, and then you dive into rates. How many questions should you ask about the market before you move to interest rates?
What's that?
How many questions should you ask about the real estate market before you move to interest rates?
I don't know.
10 to 15.
And then which questions are you counting as the market questions?
Well, what do you think the real estate market's going to do?
Market? Okay.
Right? Go up or down. Why? What has it done over the last 2 years? What happened when rates were low? Why do you think rates haven't dropped, or the market home prices haven't dropped?
So you're saying attack the prices before the rates? Because I normally bring up the rates to bring it in just to show like, hey, we're in a buyer's market. It's going to be flipping over.
How much have we appreciated, Kirk?
Appreciate?
Yeah, over the last 5 years, how much have we appreciated?
Well, from 17 to 22 was 82.3.
82.3%? Holy cow. Does that client know that?
No.
What is 82% on a $400,000 house?
It's quite a bit. It's almost Doubling.
Almost doubling in price. So how many questions can you ask Kurt about the market?
A lot.
A ton. This is where you start getting your closing, Kurt. You can't just ask one question and then dive into rates because you just missed all the market stuff. Look how many nails in the coffin I'm getting and how many closes I'm making by doing this. That's why you got to ask 15 questions of the market, 15 to 20 questions on interest rate, and then start asking more questions based off of what they're saying that helps you close them. You cannot just say, hey, if I can save you a bunch of money, and then start telling them how you're going to save the money and let them walk away. Once again, they're not processing what you're saying. They're listening. They're like, yeah, I don't believe you. You just want to make my money. Right? Here we go. Let's keep listening. I want to see what you do. And guys, if you're just joining me for the first time as we role play through this, anytime you record yourselves, I want you to grab a stopwatch. And I want you to see who does most of the talking. Right now, Kirk's going to take off talking. I guarantee he's going to go 15, 20 seconds.
What gave it away?
Just the start. Let me talk to you about builders, right? So here we go. Let's listen.
Pretty decent interest rates as well. But along with that, you pay attention to the interest rates.
Yeah, they're still above 6 though.
Yeah. So is that something you're kind of
Notice how his response was. And you have to key in, you guys, to how they're responding to know where you're at in the conversation. He says, they're still below 6, though, kind of condescendingly going, dude, they're still below 6.
Above 6.
But notice the tone of voice of how he said it, that I'm not interested, Kurt. You're not engaging me, Kurt. You're not selling me, Kurt. Did you catch how he said that?
Yeah.
And what did you do with it? Did you course correct and go, crap, I got to catch this guy or I'm going to lose him?
No, I think what I tried to do is just say, like, you're not wrong, but, and then segue that way into saying, should they come down? What's the consequence of waiting? I think
So in reality, what's this client saying when it says, because this is what you have to do. You have to listen to what the client's saying. What does that client mean by saying they're still below 6%? Does that mean he thinks rates are low?
No, he thinks they're high.
Okay. But even though they're below 6%.
Did you say below 6 or above 6?
I think he said below. Let's rewind it because I want you to hear what his tone of voice too. Let's re-listen to that, you guys.
Okay.
pretty decent interest rates as well. But along with that, you pay attention to the interest rates.
Yeah, they're still above 6 though.
Yeah, so is that something you're kind of holding out for, hopefully, or just
No.
one of the things maybe? I mean, I don't know.
There's a few.
Notice how you just went like this, and then you went with a question that was so wide and broad. So is that why you're still holding out, or is it, it's not pinpointed at all to get them talking? So I'm not sure, honestly, if he said below 6 or above 6.
It sounded like both.
It sounds like both. I listened to it your way, and it sounds like both. So should I continue with that conversation, or should I clarify the question? Did you say below 6% or above 6%?
It sounds like, with the tone of voice that he was saying, he was waiting for. He didn't like it, right? He's saying, "Well, because of this, I'm not going to do it." And so,
but being where rates are at, stop him right there. But being where rates are at, what has that done for the real estate market? Have home prices dropped? Even though our rates have been high, have they dropped? Have people been buying houses even with the rates where they're at?
In my mind, he brought that up, and I kind of internalized that, like, oh, this is going to be one of his hot buttons. And so then I think I went into what's the difference between a 7 and a 4%, and just kind of going down that.
See, and you can't yet because they're still not even bought in on this yet. This is all still pretty confrontational. Not really like I'm mad at you, Kurt, but I don't believe you, Kurt, type of stuff, right? Because we have not touched on any of the bases going through here. You haven't hit any of the key pillars of the questions. that causes them to know why it's better for them right now to get into real estate and how it will save them a ton of money. And that's all going to start where, Kurt? In market, not rates yet. In market. Is it a buyer's or seller's market? Why?
Well, I normally go cover that ground after I go into the rate, but maybe I'm just doing it backwards.
Well, you got to get to a point where you're hearing that they're engaged. Right now, I don't feel like this client is engaged at all.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to contradict everything you're saying that's going to save him money. And in reality, the rates aren't going to save him a ton of money at this point. Why?
I don't know, because he doesn't believe they will. I'm not.
Well, tell me.
The rates saving money.
What is the biggest price point that they're saving? You just told me what was the average inflation over the last 5 years? Is how much?
The 82.3.
82.3%. How much money is that, Kurt? In an average home price? That's 400 G's. Tell me if interest rates are going to touch that.
No.
Doesn't matter what interest rate you bring up. I don't even care if it's a 20% interest rate to a 2% interest rate. You're not going to save 400 G's. So what you should be talking about first is market, because market is what's going to save them the biggest money. If they wait on a $500,000 home that goes up 3%, how much money is that?
What were the numbers?
500,000, 3%.
That's gonna be 15 grand.
Okay, let's jump to 10%.
50 grand.
Okay, are those bigger numbers?
Yeah.
Then interest rate. What people are on the sideline on the sidelines for is they feel like they're going to save that much money, right? They're going to save money by waiting for the interest rate to go down.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to save near the amount of money they think they're going to save by rates changing than actually what they're missing on home values. Because in reality, right now, home values are still going up at a rate of 3 to 5%. Let's say 10%, because in some markets they are. But if rates change, that home value is going to jump a ton more. So it's all about home values versus how much they're going to save on that monthly payment. So there is no need to hit interest rates until you are solid, and they are solid more so on value.
And I touched that with because I guess the way I've been going through that discussion is saying like, hey, when that rate does come down, our prices are going to go up. And it sounds like I need to focus, because I am talking about the appreciation in that. I mean, I'm not talking about monthly payments.
I know. Yep.
And so.
But look at all the marketing questions you missed prior to. What do you think our market's going to do? Go up or down? Why? What's driving our market? Right? Interest rates are going to help drive that market. But besides interest rate, why is our home prices not crashing with an 8% interest rate?
Okay.
Why is it still solid?
Just showing the demand that we have.
That's what Dan just said on YouTube. Demand, absolutely. And you've got to help them understand all these things that even right now, I'm going to go through a bunch of the comments. Am I correct in saying that to answer questions without giving them the answer, lead them to a close? 100%. So Dan, you do not want to sit there and answer every one of the questions for them. You want to ask them a question where they are going to answer it for themselves. And they're going to answer it the way you would have answered it because you phrased the question the correct way. BD said, hey, Duane, I'm knocking in setting appointments, and I have a question to ask about confirming appointments. Should you confirm or adjust at the door if they give you a time? Agents have mixed thoughts. Not sure your question on that, BD, if you're saying, hey, if I have appointments, if you're out there setting appointments, you should go back and close the appointment same day. If you're going back the next day, count on it being a lost appointment. You're not going to get them. They're going to tell you no, or they're not going to show up. Dan says, what would the interest rate be for you to make a move? That's another great question. When rates go down, home prices will go up, and then demand. So the biggest thing that I'm saying here, Kurt, is you've got to hammer home value. When you look at even if appreciation goes up by 20%, not even talking about rates. If you're going to wait 5 years, if appreciation goes up by 25%, is appreciation just on the amount that they owe, or is it on the whole home value?
The whole home.
Do people know that? And are they outpacing their price? So let's say average home price in Utah is $500,000. It goes up for 5% per year. That's $25,000 a year. Over 5 years, it's $125,000. Now ask that person, are you going to get $125,000 a year raise over the next 5 years in your job? How do we compare and correlate that? And what happens if home prices still go up, but so does all the cost of living, and his wages don't go up as much? Can he afford, or she afford, to buy a house at that point? Maybe not. Maybe not. Do they understand that? And if they haven't dropped with an 8% interest rate, just home prices, what do you think is going to cause them to drop? Do they understand that? Notice all these things that I'm talking about just in market, Kurt, before I'm diving into rates.
Okay.
Okay.
It seems like I was asking questions on the first floor without asking questions on the ground level first.
You got it. You got it. Yeah. You're going higher level questions before you get yeses on the other questions, and therefore they still don't believe you, and they're not going to believe you because you didn't build a foundation.
Right.
Okay. Let's keep going.
It's just a tough time to get in. I mean, I understand interest rates are big and stuff, but you still got, prices still cut down. They're probably not going to for a while, or even interest rates are going up for a while, but it's just not something I'm looking for right now.
Okay. So right there, he affirms, hey, prices aren't coming down for a while. Home prices aren't coming down for a while, but yeah, I'm just not interested, Kurt. You have not won me over any place.
Hey, in my defense, I didn't say anything for like 30 seconds right there. Did you catch that?
I was impressed. Good work. You held your tongue and let him talk for a minute. I love it.
Have you heard what the Fed is planning on doing with those interest rates?
No.
So at this point, he's just pretty much saying, hey, rates aren't going to go down. Home prices aren't going to go down, but that doesn't matter, Kirk, because it doesn't matter. Why? Because it has not gotten personal to him. It hasn't affected him personally, anything we've talked about yet, because he hasn't been able to apply the conversation in his life personally.
What was that?
He has not been able to apply this conversation in his life personally, with his family, with his money out of pocket, with his job, with his raises, with anything relating to him personally. It's all been kept at the general level.
Theoretical.
Yep. It's all theoretical. It's all clear back in, the general speaking, and not down to the particular.
Okay, so they've said that, end of the year, election time, they tend to dip as well, so we're expecting those to start tickling down. They've started to a little bit, got down to 6, we peaked about 8.5 last year.
Now you're making up for not talking for those 30 seconds. Now you're just diving into, hey, look, rates are going to drop, and this is what they're going to do, and it's going to peak, and it's going to do this, and let's see what he says, because we're even going worse with the general, because we're not making them talk, so it's not particular.
But if those rates were to come down, do you think that would lead to more people buying or less people buying?
No, it would lead to more people buy, as long as, for me, it would lead to more people to buy, but if builders' prices jump up like they usually do when the rate drops too, it's just kind of an equilibrium where you're still sitting.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Why do you think those prices go up when the rates come down?
Okay, first, he said it's going to lead to more people buying. Right there, as soon as he stopped talking, he just told me it's going to lead to more people buying. What happens when more people buy? Why? Get them to start visualizing and saying. That's how you take what they're saying and bring it back and use that to help them understand, because they're telling you more people are going to buy if that rate comes down. He just told you that.
I think I'm guilty of dumbing the questions down too much so that they're not answering them as much.
Well, and it's not even dumbing them down too much. He just told you that if rates come down, more people are going to buy. So he just told you more people are going to buy. Does he understand if more people buy what that does to home prices? That's your job, Kurt. That's where you come in and help educate, because they've already said prices are going to come down.
But right here, for example, I said, if more people start buying, does that make prices go up or down? Because in my mind, I'm trying to make it as clear of an option for him. And I think I'm hurting myself by doing that, because I'm giving the longer question, which gives him a shorter answer, instead of just saying what you said.
But then you've also got to follow it up with a why, or tell me more about that after. Listen.
I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah, so normally it's like pick your poison, one or the other, right? And so let's say those rates do come down towards the end of the year, like the Fed is saying. A lot of people are expecting to jump in and start buying. A lot of people are just waiting for that rate to come down, but more.
Now you're talking a ton again.
And yeah, do you know what the difference between like a 7% versus a 4% your payment would be?
That's a lot.
Let's call it $1,000. That's probably overshooting a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's say it takes a year for those rates to come down. So right now we're halfway through the year, so it's about 6 months. We'll overshoot again. 12 months at $1,000 a month. How much is that going to cost you?
I mean, it gets $1,000 a month. If the rates drop down to 4, that's a lot. That's good. I mean,
so I mean, $1,000 a month for 12 months would put you about 12 grand. That's going to cost you, right? And that's a decent chunk of change for most people, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's it.
And then if those rates were to come down, more people jump in. What do you think that would do to the prices of the homes?
Probably increasing as the competition gets.
Yeah, get back in those bidding wars and that kind of stuff. Do you think those prices would go up more or less than the $12,000?
They're probably gonna. I mean,
Probably 30.
I smile because you're giving him an easy answer to yes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just said if rates come down, prices are going to go up. You were $12,000 in fees. You're essentially answering these questions for him. I want you to turn it now and go, so if rates drop to a 4%, how much do you think home prices would go up?
Okay.
Now, if they say, oh, I don't know, well, let's think back to COVID when rates were 4%. How many offers were people getting? How many offers were people getting? 5 to 6. How much was it driving them above purchase price? Let's just say $30,000. Now, when rates are low, can you negotiate on purchase price? And they're going to say no, because it's a bidding war. You can't get the price to come down. Can we get the price to come down right now? Yeah. How much? Even if it's $20,000. Kurt, I already beat that $12,000 you're talking about by getting the price reduction. Can you get closing costs paid for right now? Yeah, it's buyer's market. How much does closing costs typically run? Whatever they tell you. Typically 2% of purchase price. There's $10,000. So right there, I just came up with $32,000. And I haven't even talked about appreciation yet. Right? That's just bringing the purchase price down by negotiating your offer, getting closing costs paid for. And then lastly, we can talk about repairs. Can I get repairs done? How much are those repairs going to be? Now I can say, now if rates drop and we're in a bidding war, how much is it going to cost us to pay over list price? And this is all you're really touching on at this point. And so I say over list price, yeah, you're probably going to pay $20,000 or $30,000 more for the house. And you're saying, well, is that more than 12? Dude, you're comparing and contrasting $8,000. That's not enough to get anybody excited. Right? So if you had to pay, in a bidding war, $20,000 more, do you get closing costs paid for? Well, no. So you just lost $12,000 there, or $10,000 there. Do you get any price reductions? No. because they're not going to negotiate. It's going to be $20,000 more. So there's a $40,000 swing plus 20 plus also your repairs, which is another $10,000 swing. So now we're really talking about $70,000, $80,000. Is that a big swing? Yeah, it's huge. Huge. See the difference in that?
Yeah.
Let's keep listening.
40, right? Is
Yeah.
my guess, but I've got a deal for you. If I give you a check for 12 grand, will you give me one for 30?
See, and you're still comparing penny numbers. We should be talking in the hundreds of thousands. But he says no here, but is he really sold?
No, I think I asked him that to, I guess, get one yes and then go on to show them more. Because sometimes I'll say that and say, 12 for 30, deal, haha, okay. What about closing costs, this and that? How about 12 for 70? I know you turned down my last deal, but what about this one? So,
and you can do that. I feel like it's a more of a grander effect if you can walk them through the process prior to. Because what happens, Kurt, if they don't catch interest in what you're saying, they shut down.
Okay.
And right now we're about 4 minutes in. We haven't gotten a yes or a close at all. Right now, secondary conversations are kicking in saying, how do I get Kurt off the door? This isn't really working. I don't understand what he's talking about. I'm not buying. I've already told him no multiple times. I've already told him no, it doesn't matter. I know rates are going to stay high. I know prices are going to go up, but it doesn't matter. Right? So watch this. Here we go.
Yeah, we've been talking for 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of a little bit about what we're seeing right now. Let's say, like, right now, for example, not a lot of people are buying houses. There's more sellers than buyers for obvious reasons. Everyone's just kind of waiting for those rates to cool off. So let's say you wanted to buy my house, for example. I need to sell my house. I got to go move. My house has been sitting for 3 months. You're the only one who's interested in buying my house. Do you think you could negotiate the purchase price with me?
I'm sure there could be one. Yeah.
Let's call that 10 grand, and that's pretty modest.
Yeah.
Do you think you could get me to pay your closing costs for you?
Yeah. I mean, if you're not desperate to move, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fact.
Are you seeing that? Are you?
Oh
seeing
yeah.
that?
Mm-hmm. So almost every transaction right now has the sellers paying for the buyer stuff because they kind of have to. I mean, one, because if they need to sell, they need to sell it. Two, their value's gone like this. I'm sure you've noticed that we went up 82.3% from 2017 to 22, so almost double.
Crazy.
So they can afford it, and so they have to work with it. Are you familiar with the interest rate buy downs?
Yeah.
So those are huge as well.
So right now you're fishing so bad. I'm getting a lot of short no's and yeses. I'm getting a lot of are you seeing that? But it's still not personalized. Nothing's been personalized to this client. And now you've moved on, and now we're going to start talking about interest rate buy downs. Right? So now we're shifting gears again when nothing has been personalized to this client himself.
So what's the best way to do that other than, and obviously it happened at the very beginning from what I'm understanding, because what I've done is just ask if we could save you money, would you consider it? Yeah, but then how do you
get them to walk you through the process and tell you every bit of money they're going to save, just like I broke it down to you. Just in market, it's $125,000. Are you going to get a raise? How much are you getting a raise every year? How much does your salary go up? Could you afford to go pay an extra $125,000 for a home? Right? These are the ways that you start personalizing it all to you to allow you to be able to start closing at that level.
Okay.
And when I say personalizing to you, I don't mean it to you as an agent. It means personalizing it to you as a client. They have to take it personal and see how it affects them directly. Hang tight just 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. People showing up at my house. But the big thing is you've got to get it to where it's all about them. and to where they're visualizing it, how it's going to affect them directly in their life. Have my wife come take care of this. Does that make sense, Kurt?
Yeah.
So yes, I want you to go back and listen to this now. And everybody on YouTube, I want you to go back and listen to this. How many times did that person personalize the market, the rates, all of it to them directly on how it would affect them today by not buying today? And then they told you, Kurt, all the answers to that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's trying to join us. Let's see who we got coming in. Kumar, are you here? There's Kumar. How are you, brother? Where are you calling us from, Kumar? You there?
Sorry.
There's a lot of background noise. Okay, he's gone. Anyway, biggest thing is I want you to go back and listen to this, Kurt, because I think the story to all of this and what you need to capture out of this is one thing. You've got to get your client engaging the conversation. That's why you're not closing as many people as you should be. Your clients are not engaged. You're doing a lot of the talking, a lot of the questions, and a lot of the answers. And honestly, you're answering for them rather than making them internalize it and answer for themselves. Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to dive off, but I appreciate you guys being on the call today. Kurt, thank you for recording yourself and growing and learning, because this is huge for you. This will help you to definitely get to those next levels and be able to further your real estate business. So thanks, Kirk, for being vulnerable and being here with us today. Everybody, make sure you reach out to us. We'd love to teach you more about door-to-door sales and how you can elevate your business to that next level. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you.
Thank you.